of Iskashrus that Rab Shimon Yochai had with Hashem. He speaks about that there is the Iskashrus that he had all the time with the Eibishter. That was only a level of Iskashrus, and that was his whole life. And then at the end of his life, and his day of his passing, he said that it's even more so. It's Achida, it's one. So before explaining the Iskashrus and the Achida, so he went into also the difference between Dveikus and Hiskashrus. Dveikus is something that, first of all, Hiskashrus and Achida means the thing is entirely one. Hiskashrus means that there's two separate things that are joined together. But Dveikus is even further away. Dveikus is, like we say, like a belt is Davik be'ezim masneish, that they're two separate things, and the connection is only an external thing, whereas the Iskashrus is like you have the Iskashrus, that's an internal thing, like v'nafshay kshura b'nafshay. And that's the same thing, like the difference between Karbonis and Ktoides. Karbonis indicate the Iskashrus that comes from the external part of the heart, which is based on Tam Vadas. There can be changes in it, and Mashenkin Ktoides is Iskashrus. There's no change in that whatsoever. That's in the Kava Avodah. Then in Torah and mitzvahs, Torah is a level of Iskashrus, because that's a more internal thing, and mitzvahs is like embracing Hashem, whereas Torah becomes part of him. It's Seraska B'Seich Meyai. So the Iskashrus is with Torah. Now he's going to start taking this a little bit further. And another point that he's trying to lead back to is that in the beginning of the Maimer, he came to the conclusion that even though the Reb Shimon Yochai seemed to indicate that his kashrus was while he was whole time alive, and he only reached a level of achdus afterwards, but in truth, it must be that since he was aiming for achdus the whole time, it was there prior to that as well, except it wasn't revealed until his day of his passing. Okay, again, Ois Daled, fourth page on a Maimer, page Ches. Concerning the cleaving of the Yidden and Hashem. That we said earlier that because the Yidden are cleaving to Hashem, therefore that itself empowers them to do the karbonis. It's not just as it seems, okay, karbonis is dveikis, and Ktoides is Iskashrus, or Karbonis is Dveikis, and Torah Mitzvahs is Iskashrus, or Torah is Iskashrus. But also, we said that it's the other way around. Because the Yidden are Davik and Hashem, that's why they were given the Karbonis. So in that Dveikis that Yidden have with Hashem, that empowers them to be able to bring Karbonis. So the Rebbe brings down line 21, Shnei and Yonim, there are two aspects to how they are Davik. The Medrash is, in Medrash it's brought down, the Zesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzivas Yisrael Lahakriv Karbonos, the reason or the capability or why the Eibishter commanded the Yidden to offer up Karbonos, who Mepnei Shein Dvukin Li. It's because they are cleaving to me. This is what it says in the pasuk. Like the belt is davuk, has dveikis to the loins of a person. The same thing, the Yidden are davuk to me. So that's the Medrash's perspective about the dveikis that Yidden have with Hashem to enable to bring korbanos. Uba Zohar is, on the other hand, the Zohar says something deeper. It says, Akoin in Yisrael, the Kuchabrichul, Karoloin Adam, the Yidden have merit and are very special, that Hashem calls them Adam, like we see in the parts of Karbonos. Adam ki yakir mekem carbon, an Adam that will offer from your carbon. My time of Karoloin Adam, why? What's the reason that Hashem calls the Yidden Adam? You are cleaving in Havaya, your God. So that means that the idea of Adam, the dveikis in Hashem, is also bringing them to be able to bring the karbonos. Yet the Medrash brings one pasuk, the pasuk of Kashiyid B'Ka'ezer and Masne each, and the Zohar brings a different pasuk. This difference between the way the Zohar places it and the Medrash places it, so the Rebbe Rashab and Samach Vav brings out from this an interesting idea. It's explained the series of Amar Matav Samach Vav. Medrash bedaber beinyan hadveikus, top of page test the kelim. The Medrash is talking about how kelim are davuk in the oiris, are davuk with the oiris in sof. Shakelim hebchinas mitzias. Kelim are already a being; they're in existence. There's the kliya chesed, there's the kliya gvura. It's already defined. It already is covering something over. It's an entity that is receiving Hashem. It's a keli. Therefore, the way the keli joins with Alakus is not a yichud of the essence, an essential yichud, but like the belt that we spoke about. Therefore, since the Medrash is referring to the yichud of the keli, he brings the pasuk Kashiyid B'Ka'ezer Gomer, like the belt cleaves to the person. Because the belt is a separate being, but it's just cleaving to the person, because it's talking about the kelim. In the Zohar, he's speaking about the cleaving of the oiros with Hashem. The cleaving and the joining of the light with the Eibishter, that is not something else, like a keli that's receiving godliness. That is an essential union. That's why he brings the pasuk, and you are cleaving to Hashem, your God. Dveikus mamish, true, real dveikus. We could say, the fact that even the cleaving of lights is called dveikus, if we're saying the difference between the kelim and the oiris, that the kelim are like the belt, that's only a chitzonistic thing, whereas oiris is yichud atzmi. So why do you call it dveikus? Then call it by the term hiskashrus or some other term. So he says the dveikus of chitzonis kaniskrol, like we said before, that cleaving is something that's external. Seemingly, we're saying that the yichud of the oiris is not an external thing. Like we mentioned before, the reason for this is even the oir of Hashem, it's called an oir. An oir is a metzias of oir, it's a metzias of light, only when it leaves the essence, only when the light leaves the luminary, when the light leaves the body of the sun, that's when it's oir. So therefore, since the cleaving of the oir is outside of the essence, so therefore we will use the term dveikus even by the oir. So now we're going to take this back, these two types of yichudim that we mentioned in the Medrash, the two types of dveikus of kelim versus dveikus of the oiris, and we will now see how we could apply this also concerning Torah and mitzvahs. That we said that mitzvahs is dveikus and Torah is kashrus. So he's going to take this a step further. Second paragraph on the 5th page, line 12. Do according to what it's known. The Torah mitzvahs, same dugmas, oiris v'kelim. Torah mitzvahs are also similar to oiris and kelim. And therefore, we could apply the level of dveikus even by Torah. Before we spoke about mitzvahs are dveikus, Torah is kashrus. Now we're going to say, because since oiris also is called dveikus, that Torah, which is likened to oiris, is also dveikus. Also, the joining that's through being involved in Torah, the way one joins with Hashem, the way one joins through Torah with Hashem, the way the Torah is already something that expands outside of Hashem, as The Rebbe will make the difference in two ways of Torah. So therefore, hu b'chlal hadveikus. It's still the idea of dveikus, just like the oir is called dveikus because it's a spashta shechutz la'etzem. But we mentioned before that there is in Torah, the difference in Torah mitzvahs is iskashrus and dveikus. So there must be in Torah also the level of iskashrus. The inyan ha'iskas v'shayde iskat Torah, and the idea of bonding, and which is more than cleaving. That's through the involvement of Torah. And like we brought the statement that says Yisrael miskashrin be'raisa v'raisa k'shabrichu, that Yidden are bound up, are mekusher with the Torah, and the Torah is bound up with Hashem. So where does the hiskashrus part of the Torah come in if we say that even in Torah there's a level of dveikus? From the perspective of the essence of Torah, that aspect of Torah that's beyond expansion, beyond revelation, because it's not something that's expanding, not becoming revealed outward, so that level of Torah is more than dveikus, that's a level of iskashrus. So the Rebbe is going to elaborate on this. What we even said, this will be understood al pi you do according to what's known, should be iskashrus the Yisrael v'araisa k'shabrichu shnei yifan. That in the bond of the Yidden and Torah and Hashem, there are two approaches, two ways how they are all bound together. Shemetzad ha-Torah, top of page Yud, k'moishe nimshcho b'ishtalshlos. There's the way the Torah comes down and say the ishtalshlos, mikivish ha say the ishtalshlos. Since whenever we talk about Seder Ishtalshlos, we liken it to a chain. What's the idea of a chain? That the external of the upper level becomes the inner level of the lower level. Like in a chain, you have links in the chain. The bottom part of the upper link comes into the top part of the lower link. So when you're dealing with the Torah in Seder Ishtalshlos, there is a degradation of levels. It's keeping on going lower and lower. The manner, the way the Yidden become bound up with the Torah is the concealed part, which is the hapnimius, the Yisrael, miskasher begal yichitzaynes daraisa, becomes bound up with the revealed part, with the external part of Torah. So it's a stage by stage. The lowest part of the Yidden, the external part of the Yidden, that can't connect. The inner part of the Yidden, that can connect with the external part of Torah. And then further, how Torah connects with Hashem is also in a similar vein. So too, it's in the bond of the Torah with Hashem. The concealed and the inner part of Torah, miskasher begali the kutshabrichu, becomes bound up with the revealed part of Hashem. But the concealed part of Hashem has nothing to do with the Torah, because this is all, like we said, the links in the chain. Only the lower part of the higher level comes into the higher part of the lower level. So therefore, if using that type of way of connection, so then there's a lot of levels that the Yid has to go through to be able to have this the connection with Hashem. Then how does the revealed part of the Yidden become connected with the concealed part of Hashem? In other words, the revealed, the external part of the Yid is the lowest level in this entire chain. The concealed part of Hashem is the highest level of this entire chain. So how does it work? So the revealed part has to go into this, has to connect to Sasson Yisrael. The revealed part of a Yid is connected to the concealed part of the Yid. And then the concealed part of the Yid connects to Galia Daraisa, to the revealed part of the Torah. Then that connects to the Sasson Daraisa. The revealed part of the Torah is connected to the concealed part of the Torah. And then the concealed part of the Torah becomes connected, or is connected to V'gaya the Kutshabrichu, to the revealed part of Hashem, which is connected to the concealed part. So there's many intermediaries in between. That is all when we're dealing about the level of Torah. That's the Gilui and the Ispashtus of Torah. That's not the essence of the Torah. But from the perspective of the essence of the Torah, the way it's beyond the chain order of descent, the way the Yidden bind themselves up in Hashem's being is Shagam Hagalya the Yisrael Miskasher Ba'asosim the Kuchabrichu Belim Matzoyim. Even the lowest level, the revealed part of the Yid becomes bound up with the concealed part of Hashem without any intermediaries. It doesn't have to be the revealed connected to the connected to the revealed part of the Torah, connected to the concealed. All of that is bypassed. Meaning, practically speaking, even when he's learning the revealed part of the Torah with his own external understanding, he's bound up. Even his revealed part of his neshama. What's his revealed part of neshama? His understanding, his comprehension, the most external level of his neshama of that. Even that, through Torah, is connected. Gam sosim deraisa, it's connected also with the concealed part of the Torah. Val yodan, through the concealed part of the Torah, im sosim the kuchabrichu, with the concealed part of Hashem. So these are the two types of levels of connection. The external level of Torah, which then it's only dveikis, versus the essence of the Torah, not the revealed part of the Torah. The Torah, the way it's be'etzim, higher than revelation, that is a direct line of hiskashrus. So now he goes back to that first level, to the lower level, line 21. The bond of the Yidden and the Torah. From the perspective of the level of the Torah, the way it comes down, is part of the idea of dveikis, that's external, like we started saying before, that Torah is the dveikis of oiris, and mitzvah is the dveikis of kelim, which means even Torah doesn't have the iskashrus part. Because the bonding of Yidden with Torah from the perspective of this level, the level of Torah, the way it comes down, say the Rishtalshlus, Hibachitzainias, Gali Deraisa, is that where are they connecting? They're connecting in the external part of the Torah and the revealed part of the Torah. Even more so, even the inner level that's in the level of Torah, the way it comes down, say the Rishtalshlus. It's already the way it comes down, say the Rishtalshlus, to be an intermediary, so it's already an external level. The expression says that there are three bonds that they are bound up one with another. We are just now saying that there's a level of Torah where it's not a level of a bond. It's a level of only dveikas. So therefore he explains that the primary meaning of Tlas Ksharim Miskashrim Dabada, that is in the bond of Torah that's higher than the Seder Shtalshlus, the Iskashrus. So this Iskashrus, top of page Yud Aleph, Besosim the Eraisa, Besosim the Kuchabrichum. It's in the concealed part of the Torah and the concealed part of Hashem. That's Pnimius, and there you have the level of Tas Tlas Kishrim Miskashrim Dabada. But if you're just doing it the external part of the Torah, so then you're not going to use the word Iskashrus. You're going to use the word Dveikas. So he says, hey now, even in that bond that comes as a result of the essence of the Torah, that's not Dveikas, that's direct line from the Goli of the Yidden to the Sosim of the Torah and the Sosim of Hashem. Yisrael v'Eraisa v'chein Eraisa v'Kuchabrichu hem k'moshnei dvarim ashom iskashrim zebazeh. Still in all, we're using the word iskashrus, like we said before. At the beginning of the Maimer, we established that iskashrus means the binding together of two things. Masha'enkin zeshi Yisrael Eraisa v'Kuchabrichu kol echad, as opposed to the other statement in Kabbalah, that Yidden, Torah, and Hashem are entirely one. It doesn't say miskashron, it says entirely one. Ulamaila miskashros di Yisrael araisa v'kutshabrichu kemoishi mitzad etzem ha-Torah shalamayla mishtalshlos. Even that connection that we're saying has to do with the essence of Torah, that's beyond Seder Ishtalshalos, even that connection is surpassed by the connection that Yidden have with Hashem, that is in its own essential nature, it's considered oneness. So he's going to explain what's the difference. This will be understood by first prefacing the analysis of what they said. Three bonds, three knots that are connected one with the other. And the Rebbe asked the classic question, seemingly there's only two knots, two bonds, two connecting points. Yisrael miskashrin v'ayraisa Yidden are bound up with the Torah, v'ayraisa b'kutshabrichu, and the Torah is connected with Hashem. So why does it say there are three bonds? There are three things that are being connected, but plus kishrin seems to be that there are three knots, three connector points. One of the explanations why we call it three, the kesher hashlishi or kesher the Yisrael v'kutshabrichu shelo yedei amtzos ha-Torah, that the third knot, the third bond, the third meeting point is the bond of the Yidden and Hashem, not through and via the Torah. In other words, one may look at it as not a straight line. At one end of the line is the Yidden, and in the middle is Torah, and then there's Hashem, but rather look at it as a triangle. In a triangle, you could say that the point of the Yidden on the triangle connect with Hashem through the point of Torah, or they have their own connector with Hashem. I said, the Yisrael, because the root of the Yidden is in Hashem's very essence. It's higher than the root of the Torah. So instead of using the term triangle, he used the word a circle. The order of these three bonds and knots are like a ring, a circle that doesn't have a beginning and an end. Initially, Yidden bind themselves with Torah v'ayraisa because when the Torah binds them in Hashem. But they don't stop over there. And afterwards, there is the bond and the connection of Yidden through that. There is they are connecting that with Hashem Himself. It's in other words that thanks to the Yidden connecting with the Torah, and the Torah connects them with Hashem. So now it comes out by extension, Yidden are connected to Hashem. But after this bond is formed between the Yidden and Hashem, so then the first step is the connection of the Yidden with Hashem. And after it becomes revealed the root of the Yidden Batzmus is Baruch Hashem's essence. Hey, Mamshichim Zegam b'Torah, they draw this down also in the Torah. Al derech David mechaber Torah shalom ma'il b'kutshabrichu, similar to the idea that the Yidden connected, similar to the fact that David HaMelech joined the Torah of above with kutshabrichu. Why was that? Because David's connection with the Eibishter is greater than the Torah's connection. Top of page Yud Beis. The noise of Torah Chachmas Shal Kadosh Baruch Hu, in addition to the fact that the Torah is Hashem's Chachma. The Chachma he be'eina reichel gaba atzmo soyin sof, that the Chachma of Hashem is incomparable to Hashem's very essence, and therefore you need to have the Yid to make that connection with Yisrael Mamshichim. Ba atzmo soyin sof, and the Yidden draw down into the Torah Hashem's very essence. Since even in the root of Torah and Yidden, the way they are in Hashem's essence, HaShoresh the Yisrael Ulamayla Meshoresh HaTorah. In other words, not just because Torah is part of Chochmah, but in Hashem's essence, Yidden's Shoresh is higher than Torah. Therefore, through the involvement of the Torah of the Yidden, comes down from Hashem's very essence.